Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of John Matrixx Talks Movies. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me. Today, we're going to address the Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy once again. And this one website actually just told us to deal with it. He is defending Rian Johnson. It's this website called Beyond the Wall. Whatever that is, it seems like it's a Game of Thrones website. So they probably don't know anything about Star Wars. And it's quite obvious. The vast majority of Star Wars fans did not like that movie. They thought it was absolute garbage. I thought it was garbage too. It is the worst Star Wars movie made. There's no way to defend it. It just is. Now, if you like it, that's fine. But there's no way that Disney should greenlight this Star Wars trilogy by Rian Johnson. It really shouldn't. Now, this article actually says here, in 2015, Abrams' The Force Awakens blew away the box office, raking in $2.6 billion worldwide. Actually, you're wrong. It was $2.06 billion. Do some research. Check your facts because you're wrong. Okay? So, it says, although some fans complained that the movie was basically a rehash of Star Wars A New Hope, which it was, it was a cheap rehash of A New Hope. So not everything was perfect in the fandom, but there was still plenty of optimism for Johnson's take on the series. He directed Brick, an excellent indie film, and the well-received sci-fi thriller Looper, in addition to two of the best episodes of Breaking Bad. Johnson also had the chops and fans were excited. Now I really must admit, I was very, very excited to see what Rian Johnson could do with the Star Wars movie because I was very, very disappointed with The Last Jedi. But The Last Jedi was a huge disappointment. It was just so awful. I don't know how people can still defend this movie. It's so far left field. It's so far destroyed the fan base. There's no way that Disney should actually, go forward with a Rian Johnson trilogy. Now, he goes on to say here, so it was messy, but The Last Jedi still earned a whopping $1.3 billion at the box office. Yeah, but what he's not telling you is the movie had a 65% drop off from week 1 to week 2, which means people saw this movie and they weren't going back because they didn't like it. This movie should have made around $1.6 to $1.7 billion. It left about $300 or $400 million on the table because the movie was absolute trash. There's no other way to actually put it. It was just trash. Now, why did Disney actually give Rian Johnson this trilogy? I really don't know. Maybe because he was the first director that Lucasfilm really didn't have an issue with. Remember, even The Force Awakens had issues with the script and everything. JJ comes in. The Force Awakens was not a smooth ride really at first. The Last Jedi was a smooth ride and it was the worst Star Wars movie ever. So Rian Johnson, he ruined Star Wars. He really did. If you just look at what's going on right now in the fandom, there's actually people threatening other people at Star Wars Celebration. There's people that are calling for violence on other Star Wars fans just because they don't really like the direction of the Disney Star Wars. That's the damage that Rian Johnson has done. He has ruined Star Wars for fans. He just has. Now, you can like The Last Jedi as much as you want, but you do have to acknowledge that Star Wars really has not been the same since Rian Johnson got involved with Star Wars and The Last Jedi came out. You saw what happened to Solo. The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson single-handedly destroyed a Star Wars movie. Now granted, I didn't really like Solo at all, but still, that movie made $392 million. That's it. It lost around $100 to $200 million. That movie should have made probably 800 million, I guess. But no, that was because of the damage by Rian Johnson and The Last Jedi. So you can't defend Rian Johnson. I mean, if his trilogy is actually going to happen, why hasn't Disney and Lucasfilm actually come out and said that, hey, Rian Johnson's trilogy is still happening? Every time a rumor comes up that Rian Johnson's trilogy is getting canceled, the only person that debunks these rumors is Rian Johnson himself. We've heard nothing from Bob Iger, nothing from Kathleen Kennedy. No one from Disney or Lucasfilm has even mentioned the name Rian Johnson. This trilogy will not happen, and it should not happen, in my opinion. If it does, it's just another failure by Lucasfilm. So what do you guys think about all this? Rian Johnson's trilogy, will it happen? Will it not happen? Should it happen? Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.